Well, hello everyone, and welcome into Evangelicalish. I think we should play the intro. Let's do that real
It's been
quick.
a while since I've been on. I forgot how everything goes. So.
It's okay. Listen, here we are a year later, and same old Evangelicalish crew. So, anyway, I'm going to step
aside. You
aside.
think we would have got this thing down?
No. Where's the fun in that? It's all good. All right, let's roll the intro. I'll be right back.
Welcome to Evangelicalish, where we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the American Evangelical Church, deconstruction, faith, and God's love through it all. Join us for these episodes live on our Evangelicalish YouTube page on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific. Let's journey together.
And welcome into the Evangelicalish podcast.
The show sucks. Jeez.
It's good to see everybody tonight. It is a 1-year anniversary episode, and we're super excited about that. We're glad that you're with us this evening. And just in case anybody's wondering, we're going to go Jeremy, April, Paul tonight because I don't think we discussed that pre-show. So welcome into Evangelicalish. I'm Jeremy.
I'm April.
And I'm Paul.
That's how that's done. Oh, man.
We did it. A year into this, you think we'd be just a little bit better.
Geez, we take 3 weeks off and we forget the whole damn thing.
Yeah, that's right. But,
I forget the whole damn thing.
It's good to be with everybody tonight. Our family from all across the country. You have made Evangelicalish what it is. We are glad to be a part of this community, and it is really actually a community, and it is fantastic. You guys are y'all are all just as encouraging to us, and probably more so than we are for you. And you have no idea what it means. Your comments, your thoughts, your encouragements, your challenges, and as we all walk through this process together of faith and life and love and everything else. And so, anyway,
got to know what's weird. Can I say so? You know what's weird? Like this, it's this time bending COVID time that we're in. Like, I cannot remember a world where I didn't know you guys. I can't remember a Paul that didn't know Jeremy and April. It's really weird.
It is really weird. I mean, we've only known each other a little over a year. Like we met, I think it was in January, to toss around ideas for something that we could all join forces in. And we're like, oh, let's start a podcast. And I remember the Zoom meeting that we had to come up with the name, and we threw a whole bunch of things around, and Evangelicalish stuck. But that meeting seems like years ago, and it was only just over a year ago, which is crazy.
The whole thing has just been nuts. It's been an absolute whirlwind. Hey, Ricardo, good to see you tonight.
We got a first timer
hopping in.
And April, somebody wants to know how you guys are doing.
Thank you, Carlos. So this break has felt extra long because my whole family came down with COVID.
Oh, gosh.
And honestly, it wasn't even the symptoms. We had, thankfully, we were all boosted and vaccinated, so we had very mild symptoms. But it was the quarantining with the children. Actually, I just came out of quarantine yesterday, so I'm a little stir crazy still. So this came at a great time. And you know what's funny? This is just a sidebar. I don't even know if I mentioned it on the show last year, but our very first episode, so a year ago today, I also had COVID. So
all right, you bookended our first year with COVID?
Yes.
That is the most pandemic thing I've ever heard in my life.
I bookended it. Started with COVID and ended with COVID. So dumb. Y'all, and to be fair, I make it seem like we've probably just been really loose with it. We've been very careful. Just for the judgy people out there. We're vaxxed, boosted. My daughter's vaxxed. We wear masks. The COVID finds you. That's all I'm going to say.
COVID finds you.
Oh man. Anyway, speaking of our 1-year anniversary, we had in our Facebook page and on a couple of our social media platforms earlier this week, and then today, we asked you guys to kind of share with us what some of your favorite moments were from the last year. We're going to share a couple of our favorite moments too. Like, I know this isn't really a moment, but I felt really alone. Like, I was starting to grow a community outside of evangelicalism, but I was still feeling kind of alone before Evangelicalish, and even just like all the people that show up every week in the comments and are in our Facebook group, and you guys, it's been like that alone's just been life-changing, just having this community. So not to get all mushy emotional, but I just thank you. I appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah. Well,
I love you guys.
Yeah. I love y'all. Yeah, I can't quit you. So
Remember the old, what were those Bud Light commercials like? I love you, man.
yeah.
Yeah. I always think of that. What's up?
Oh my gosh! Or
From the
the Budweiser, yeah,
The frogs.
yeah.
Frogs, yeah.
Anyway, it's almost Super Bowl commercial time. I guess that's why all of us are thinking about that. But yeah, no, this has been an excellent journey, and it has been amazing. I remember when Paul and I connected early on, like after I'd first gotten on TikTok. And he and I were talking, and I was like, man, it'd be really good to like get a couple of us together and like actually hash this out, if for nothing better, just like the sake of like maybe, kind of just talk therapy a little bit of like, hey, maybe nobody's going to listen to this podcast, but by golly, we're going to get to talk about some things and realize there's more people in the world than just us. And I have been absolutely blown away, by the love and the support that we've gotten through this process, and it's been amazing. But
it's like a big therapy session. The good ones that make you, that you can like vent and you just feel a little bit better at the end of it.
Yes, always. So, and I've got I've got just a new amazing brother and sister that I love a whole bunch and have never been in the same room with. And
I just remember
I know
that's weird.
I remember thinking I was, going into this TikTok world with, 15-year-old girls dancing. And all of a sudden I see this guy saying, hi, I'm that pastor from Oklahoma who voted for Joe Biden with a pickup. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not alone. And then this,
I'm not alone.
This woman doing this Baptist pastor thing at White Jesus Baptist Church. And I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh, so, I remember you loved that one.
You
messaged me about it. You were like, that's so funny. And then I was on your podcast and you played it. That was the first time I ever dressed as a dude. That was my very first one. So
now you do it all the time.
Now it's like, oh, drag. Okay. Yeah. Easy.
That's a Tuesday.
I actually think I'm in drag more than I actually put on makeup. So just fun.
Well, you did your bachelorette one though,
That's true. I got a little bit more feminine redemption, I guess. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, Jeremy brought up a point just a second ago that I just want to revel in for a second, because I don't know that people listening like realize this, but the three of us have never met in person.
Nope.
Never in real life.
Never been in the same room.
I told my wife the other day, because we're working on some exciting news and some exciting things for the upcoming months for y'all. And I told my wife, I said, I'm really nervous. Like I want my friends to like me as much in person as they do online. Like, are they going to hate me when we meet in real life? Like, so it's it's pretty wild, but
it is a little awkward. It's almost kind of like a blind date, like not like for adults, like for married adults that,
we met on like deconstruction Tinder, like the three of us, like some kind of weird.
I know.
It is good. I mean, I have a friend that lives in Italy that has been coming to our Sunday morning thing, and he was coming out to San Francisco. So we met in between, and it is like, you're like, oh my gosh, what's this going to be? And then you see each other and you're kind of like, oh, you're this real human, you're three-dimensional. And then it's like, so I probably, then you're like, oh, you're kind of like you are when we're on Zoom together. So, all right, this feels familiar. So I think it'll be the same when we get together.
Yeah. The only thing that throws people off when they first meet me, and Rachel's in the chat, and I met her from TikTok in real life a few times now. But I am much taller than people think when they see me. I'm 6 feet tall. So usually when I don't disclose that information, like when I'm having meetings and stuff, like works, and like I started a work project during the pandemic. So we were all Zoom, and then we met in person. And this person spent like 10 minutes, just could not get over how tall I was. I was like, I'm sorry.
Nashville first, friends. Nashville first. Just FYI.
Yes. And we are looking, if you know, I am looking in Dallas area for like a venue. If anyone knows of anything, shoot me a message. Like a progressive church that would welcome us, or hotel ballroom connections, all the things. Whew. Anyway,
that is one of my favorites as well. That was actually probably my favorite April video of all time until your one here a few weeks ago, the deconstruction is sexy or whatever. Oh. Like the clap back at Matt Chandler was.
What was the favorite one before?
Tupac's Not Dead.
Tupac's Not Dead.
Oh, yeah, I had fun with that one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
There's actually another podcast, they're kind of evangelicals too, that asked if they could they do like a fake commercial during their shows. They asked if they could use my audio for the sexy deconstruction ad as a fake ad. I was like, that's pretty good.
That's really funny.
Okay, so we want to get into the comments that some of you guys sent in of your favorite moments. I want to share one of my favorite moments that's kind of lighthearted, and I told Paul this earlier, and he was fine for me to share it because he got so embarrassed. It was on the show titled Women of Deconstruction, and it was me and a bunch of my friends that I had met from TikTok.
I was on the show of Women from
yes, it was it 4 women? It was 4 women.
Yeah, I was in Jamaica. I was in Jamaica that week, and I just was laying out on the beach, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tune in for a second and see what's going on, and it was off the rails.
It was a wild episode, and I don't even know if I might have edited this out for the podcast because I know that Paul was feeling like weird about it. I can't remember if I actually did. So if you go back to try to find it, I know for sure it's on YouTube. It may not be on the podcast. But anyway, we were all talking about the Billy Graham rule and purity culture and how men can't help but objectify women. And Paul towards the end of this conversation just blurts out, he's like, well, I just got to be honest with you. I've just been thinking about having sex with all of you this whole time. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious, but I could tell.
What guy wouldn't? Come on.
But as soon as he said it, his face turned like so red as he like realized what he had just said on a live. And that's one of my favorite moments of the whole year. He texted me the next day. He was like, I'm feeling really sheepish today. I hope I didn't cross the line. I was like, we know you're joking. Anyway.
Oh my God.
What else can I say? But
it was a well-timed joke. Out of context could be bad. In context was funny.
Somebody could just, clip that right out and
I know. See, Rachel was there. She even said it was a great moment. It was hilarious. So.
It's like that guy that tweeted, the Sauvé guy that tweeted like no women should ever wear a bikini or, from your brother, shut the fuck up, man. It's like, if you can't sit in a room with a woman in a blouse without wanting to ogle her breast, that's a you issue. That's not a her issue. That's a you issue.
Exactly right.
Well, not even, there's that guy on Twitter right now, Brian Douche.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, who's talking about like Suave, about just nurse like babies and nursing and pregnancy. Like,
this guy,
get over yourself.
Behind every one of those tweets is an abuser. Like I'm sorry.
It's gotta be
like a predator.
Predator. There you go.
I'm praying for this guy's wife if he has one, because that scares me to death for her.
Beth Moore had a good clap back at him on Twitter.
She did,
and
I retweeted it, but she was getting so much hate for that tweet. She deleted it.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, no, it was such a good clap back at him.
DJ in the comments says that they listened to it on Spotify and it was not edited out. So there you go. You can go back and listen to that episode and hear Paul's amazing comment.
You know.
Okay, so do you guys want to share one of your favorite moments, or we want to read some from the piece?
Well, here's Jeremy is now worried what Paul is thinking about him just now, because yes, we are in a new world where
we don't discriminate.
I could be thinking about sex with any of you at this moment.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
We're starting off our 1-year anniversary on a bang.
We are on a roll.
Literally.
If that's what Paul's thinking about, Paul's making my dreams come true right now. So
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And Paul,
And
you
we're
got
gonna-
any?
And we're going to see each other in person in a few months, and it's really going to be awkward now, isn't it?
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
define awkward.
Here's a comment for us to move along.
Yeah.
Okay, so Angels said it was an episode. So we're talking about favorite moments. It was an episode where you guys spoke about Christian movies and music. I found out it was okay to not like all of it. There's nothing wrong with me.
Oh,
Absolutely.
solid
It was-
comment.
yeah.
And along with that is this from Mushi that says music as a control medium in church services from Marcia.
Mm.
Yeah. The manipulation of it all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, all of that's good because you're kind of taught like churches buy all these tickets to these crappy movies and stuff like that, and we kind of discussed that like. It's like we're gonna show Hollyweird that Jesus is king. They say weird stuff like that all the time, and so that Jesus is king, and this movie is gonna be the greatest. And it's like, if I have to watch that dude from freaking Courageous or whatever do one more bad acting job, I swear to God,
Facing the Giants.
Facing the Giant. That one was, listen, it was horrible. Don't get me wrong, but it was at least more stomachable than some of these other ones.
Stomachable. They're so bad.
It might be horrible, but it was horrible.
Like it's kind of a deal where I didn't vomit it out, but it still didn't go well. So
it was a little better than God's Not Dead 3 or 4, perhaps.
Yeah, whatever the Christian nationalism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amanda said, honestly, anytime y'all talk about what areas you've recently grown in really helps me not get discouraged for not being exactly where I'd like to be.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's it. Somebody said it's like therapy, or it's like, we're just kind of talking through what we're walking through. And I think that's really the magic of what we do.
Well, and I think like, isn't this what the church should have been, is a place where we're open and honest and having really transparent conversations about what we're thinking and feeling and growing through. Right. And people are safe in that place to have those conversations. Unfortunately, that's not at all what the American Evangelical Church has been. So I think it's refreshing when you can come in to be a part of a community where transparency and honesty is like valued in that place, and authenticity is valued in that place. So that echoes something that I love about this as well.
I did a TikTok recently on how whenever I said from the pulpit, I'm learning and growing on this issue, I don't know exactly what the right answer is, but let me share some different viewpoints, people would get very angry at me. And as I was saying, yes, we can say the church doesn't want us to ask questions, but I'm telling you, the people in the seats, they want to be affirmed in what they believe, and they want you as pastor to tell them what is right. Because whenever I said, like, I'm still on a journey on this, people would get like, are you not hearing from God? Can't God give you the answer since you're the pastor?
Well, it keeps the people from having to think for themselves and just keep going through the motions without really having to apply logic and critical thinking.
The American church is not designed for like having your own thoughts. Like people are trained and indoctrinated to be just told what they believe, right?
Yeah.
And they regurgitate it, and then their excuse for all of it is, well, faith. I have faith. I don't have to have all the answers, or whatever. And it's like, okay, I can appreciate you wanting to have faith, but at the same time, like, you are buying things that are just so half baked and ridiculous, just at the word of somebody, but you're indoctrinated not to think for yourself. Like,
I also like what Lori says in the chat, that it just becomes a contest of who has it the most together, following the most rules, abstaining from the most, and leaving the most people out.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was telling Paul this earlier, that one of the refreshing things about becoming friends with you guys and then just having Evangelicalish is that I don't feel the pressure to be fake. Like, I tried to be real in the evangelical church, and that rubbed people the wrong way a lot, and I kind of like I was always pushing the boundaries already. But even still, I was always aware of how what I said or how I dressed or what I did would be perceived by other Christians if it was Christian enough and in evangelicals by evangelical standards.
You're Christian enough, April.
Thank you, Paul.
I in my video I said what American churchgoers really want is affirmation, a good music show, and really good babysitting. And I had 2 people get very upset with me in the comments for that.
But that's what they want. When really most of the time it's actually like bad karaoke, a subpar TED Talk, and questionable babysitting. Like that's usually what it is.
Cringy, undocumented babysitting. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here's one from JB Sheets. It's been deeply healing to listen, not only deconstruction, but in my coming out process where church spaces don't feel safe. Thanks for being a safe space that allows me to feel less crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thanks, JB. I mean, that's an honor to be able to share that space with somebody. And in a related one that I love, Annette said she loved April sharing about her brother Andrew's coming out and really touched my heart. She says how he had pled with God to take away the gay. It opened my eyes to the pain of LGBTQ plus Christians.
Thanks, Annette. That's been something that's been healing too in this whole thing is being able to actually be open about my brother's sexuality. I mean, he's always given me permission before I've talked, but he's like out. But I remember when I was in evangelical churches, I had to be so guarded on who I told that information to, which is a huge part. Like my brother's a huge part of my life. And I couldn't, I didn't trust people with what they would do with that information. And it was almost kind of like a dirty little secret, like once someone got in the inner circle, I was like, well, my brother's gay. And then like bracing for impact for how they would respond. Yeah.
My brother's gay.
I know. It was like a cuss word back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just being like open, like, yeah, my brother's gay and he's awesome. I'm just being cool about it. It's
what was it, Ellen, that when she came out on her show, she accidentally said like into the microphone at a restaurant, I'm gay. Did you guys?
I don't remember.
Oh, I guess I'm too old for you guys. That's right.
I don't know all the deets, but I'm sure something like that happened. I believe.
Yeah, it sounds. I
affirm your memory of that.
Sounds like Ellen.
It sounds like Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah. Amy said, just having you 3 willing to talk about quote unquote unmentionable topics has been a breath of fresh air. Christians speaking about deconstruction, white nationalism, colonization. I appreciate these.
Very good.
Yeah. Susie says this podcast is like therapy for those who are struggling to make sense of the belief system they've left. We really appreciate that, Susie, because I think that's actually something that we talked about kind of unintentionally leading in was,
it's therapy for me too.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where it started, right? It was like, hey, it's cool if people listen, great. But if not, like, at least we get to talk about this stuff and not feel crazy anymore. So it's been amazing for us as well.
And I think the sense we're making about the belief system we left is that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian says in the comments that my cursing was the ultimate moment.
It was so good.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Was
it what was the thing? It wasn't even like a cuss word. That one night you were like really struggling with something.
I was trying to say shit and I couldn't say it. I like whispered.
That was smooth.
I've gotten so good at it.
So good.
I mean, maybe not so good. The fact that I'm like bragging about it.
I feel like the big brother teaching my little sister bad habits.
Same. Yeah. No, Paul and I have absolutely corrected you, April. What was it? I think we were talking about something and maybe it was like, I think it was the word penis or something like that. And you kind of like cringed at that for a second. And we were like, oh, April.
Oh, I remember, I didn't have a problem saying this, but it made me laugh every time was like early on. We started off doing our hate comment of the week.
Yeah.
That was how we started the season, which we should bring that back one of these episodes.
Yes.
But Paul had a recurring comment from some username, and the username was Whiskey Dick.
That's what it was. It wasn't penis. It was whiskey dick. That's what it was.
That was his username. And every time Paul said, "This is from Whiskey Dick," I couldn't keep it together. I was laughing.
Exactly. I forgot about our buddy Whiskey Dick. I forgot about that. Yeah. But that's what it was. That's what I was remembering.
I love how people in the comments right now are cheering me on. How I've become such a good cusser.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. What a thing to grow in.
April's turning into a badass. Liv says I miss Whiskey Dick.
We should bring him back. Did you block him, Paul?
No, that sounds like a personal issue, just so you know.
Wow. Okay.
Jay says my favorite topic is breaking down worship music. I love music, and it's one of the ways I feel closest to God. To know that I wasn't alone and could connect to God through any music uplifted me.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's our worship music expert. No, April, you're a worship music person too. All right, and this is our last but not least comment from our crew.
From Laura says, honestly, the brief talks on hell and the rapture have stuck with me most, and I'm dying for y'all to really do a deep dive on both. That, yes, I do believe that is coming. We've been talking about that, and we just need to do it. We just need to do it one of these.
I think
days.
we were getting real serious about having those conversations at the end of the last season, but then there was like some current events stuff, I think, that just kind of ended up superseding more topical conversations. So but yes, we are prioritizing that. And
Greg Locke always gets in the way.
Yeah, Greg.
Damn
Locke.
it, Greg.
Always blame Greg Locke. Do you guys have any favorite moments that you want to share before we move on?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, okay. Mine is outside of the show. Is that okay?
Sure.
Is that acceptable for this?
I don't know what you're gonna say, so I'm
We'll let you know if it's okay when you're finished.
Yeah, on the live, we'll let you know if it's okay.
Just stop me when you feel uncomfortable. So we were kind of going through a season where there was just some challenging things that were happening through just as TikTok does. There's always stuff happening and drama and challenges happening and different things like that, and we were kind of navigating a season like that where we found ourselves kind of centered in some of that, and I think one of the biggest things is we walked through that, and this is when I really just like I've always loved you guys, but this is when I just absolutely fell in love with y'all. Was we navigated some really rough waters through that, and there was actually, and I'm just going to say this in front of everybody who's listening, there was actually some internal conflict as far as how to handle some of those situations. But
we confronted one another.
Yeah. And the beauty of how that happened and how real it was and how honest it was and how everybody just said what they needed to say. And there was, there were apologies given. There were, there was grace given, like all of those things were shared back and forth. Like, I mean, I will, fully take responsibility that, part of that situation was there were some times that, just in my charisma, I kind of walked by April on some topics inside the show. And especially in some very important moments when she was sharing her heart with us. April not only allowed me to be able to ask for forgiveness in that and apologize in that, but extended amazing grace in that. And we had a number of other things that we worked through. And so the beauty of this community, and this is what I want to say with, I don't want to just, I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot since we were talking about this show. The beauty of this community is that the authenticity that you get on the screen on Wednesday nights, on your podcast on Thursday morning, the authenticity that you get inside the chats, inside of the comments, on the Facebook group, different things like that. I can honestly say those are the same things that are going on behind the scenes. That there is that there is real, genuine love and compassion for each other. And it has been evident in our relationships for a long time. But as we navigated that situation, that was probably 6 months ago, maybe. I don't know. That's been a while, right?
Right.
But the strength of the show has gotten better. The strength of the community has gotten better. And so I want to say that my favorite thing may not be a moment, but it's just the community that's being built. And it's because I get to partner with y'all who pour your heart and your soul into it. And the love and the grace and the compassion and the growth and the learning that our listeners and the folks who are involved in this community see happening, y'all are doing it for real. It's not a show. It's not staged. And so, that's my biggest thing. I want to tell y'all how thankful I am for both of you and that, what that authenticity in these relationships means, and that, that we're family, and I'm grateful for that.
I love you sharing that. And, what we saw in the church, and certainly my dad was a pastor. And so I saw it as a kid, and then I ended up being a pastor, and I saw it as an adult, is when pressure comes on relationship, people split, churches split. That's why we have somewhere between 10,000 and 33,000 Protestant denominations now, And you're right, Jeremy. I think that was a moment where we could have split and said, hey, this just isn't going to work for all of us together. And I think we stood the test, and we were open-hearted, and we shared hard things with one another, and we heard hard things from one another. And so I just say yes to what you just said. And it makes me not only, love being with you guys, but proud of being a part of this with you guys.
Yeah.
It was really fascinating where we were like, because one thing that we know is that, since all of us are in a place where this is a major part of it, our online presence is a major part of our livelihoods and who we are as people. Right. And, it's a big deal. I've got a guest that just snuck in here, but,
all right, stop cussing, everybody. Stop.
But there was this moment where it was like, some of this is getting really hard. There have been places where it had gotten rocky, and it boiled down to this question of do we trust each other's, do we trust each other enough to say, I'm willing to put all my eggs in your basket with all of this growth and this career and that, all of that. Right.
Yeah.
And the beauty is that we came out on the other side, and we were able to not just say yes, but adamantly yes. And that was huge. And so, yeah,
I think too, if especially those people that have just found us and have binged, I'd be curious to hear what they think. But I know for me personally, I've grown so much in the last year. Even hearing some things that I said a year ago, I wouldn't say those things today. And so I think that's the one thing too that I love about doing the show with you guys and with everyone in the chat is we're all on a journey, and none of us are saying, oh, we've made it. We're not the evangelicals saying this is how to talk. This is what you should believe. This is right and this is wrong. It's us every week being like, I know what happened in the evangelical church was wrong, but we're figuring it out from here. We're just kind of wandering and growing together. Brian in the chat said he hasn't known us long, but we have done a lot of growing since he's known us. And I appreciate that comment, because I feel like I've done some growing, but sometimes you wonder, like, is that coming through?
Well,
So,
and there are times when people say wonderful things about us in the comments, and I think, yeah, we probably don't totally deserve that, but
yeah.
I do.
And we're still growing. Like, I think a year from today, hopefully we're still going. I think we will still be, but I think we'll look back on some things that we say now and say, I wouldn't say it that way now. To constantly be willing to stretch and grow is a challenging and huge thing that really I didn't have to do much in the evangelical church. You kind of get on cruise control and you just keep believing the same things and not stretching your mind, and you just get relaxed and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And now we're in this kind of like vast openness where there's no rules and we're just figuring it out as we go.
And when we have a moment like Jeremy was describing there, and we all are willing to say, I'll hear what you have to say to me. In fact, I want you to say hard things to me. That's when you can trust people and put your eggs in the basket together.
Yeah.
And so Dennis wants to know if you were crying, Jeremy, to go off camera there. So
no. I my youngest, a lot of y'all know my wife is a traveling nurse, and we have 4 kids. And so she is out of town, and my youngest came down and was complaining of leg cramps. She's had growing pains the last couple of nights, on top of some other things going on in our house. And so anyway, I went and gave her a quick dose of Tylenol and tucked her back in. That's what I did.
Love that. Dennis
So
also said,
I really
yep.
apologize.
Well, they thought you were raptured as usual, but I love Dennis's comment. He says, yes, as anticipated, the rapture rejected Jeremy.
It always does.
Spit you
they sent you back.
I come right back.
You lukewarm.
Wrong Jeremy Coleman. Ugh. Yeah.
So my favorite moment is a really personal one, because April had her friend Jenna Crack come on, and Jenna talked to us about DID, and just that idea. Mental health was always a big issue for me in the church of like, how do we do this better to really help people with their problems? And just so hearing Jenna talk about, even with DID and emotional parts of her interacting with the Spirit of God, it just and saying, let's get rid of some of the stigma of these things and really deal with them was really important. And then on my own health journey, just Jenna has been a great resource for me. And I know she's a good friend of yours and Beecher's, April, but I've been able to become good friends with Jenna since that episode. And she's helped me walk through a lot of things in my life, of which I'll be telling more in the future. But just so not only getting to hear Jenna talk about an issue that I think the evangelical church does exceedingly poorly in dealing with mental health, and just pray and read your Bible and it'll all be good, or let's cast out that demon from these people. To hear that has just been really life-changing for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And, we will be having more great guests in the future. If there's specific guests that you would love to have on the show, like, you could drop it in our Facebook group. And I love bringing on new perspectives and different, belief systems and different topics that, we're not experts on, but we can bring other people in and learn.
And we've also discussed, like, kind of, a lot of the guests that we've brought on are folks that we love and respect off of TikTok, probably particularly just because that's kind of where all of our platforms are based. But, we've also talked about maybe kind of chasing after some big name guests. We've reached out to some big name folks, and hoping that, maybe not that I would ever discredit any of the guests that we've ever had, because they've all been amazing and experts in those fields. But we have kind of extended past, like, our inner circle on TikTok to start reaching out to some of those names that get circulated a lot, and so it's just kind of exciting to see where that's going to go in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really want to get to reacting to some cringy evangelical clips. I've been so excited about this.
All right, let's hit a break and we'll blind react to cringy clips.
Oh boy. Loving Evangelicalish? Follow us to catch all the latest content and encouragement. You can check us out on TikTok by following @Evangelicalish or subscribe on YouTube by searching Evangelicalish. That's Evangelical with an ISH. And don't forget to catch our live streams each and every single Wednesday night on YouTube at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 Pacific. And now, back to the Evangelicalish podcast.
All right, back at it. And we are going to blind react to cringy clips. And,
some of us have seen them.
Okay, so not
those of us
completely
submitted,
blind.
yeah.
Yeah. So Rachel just asked, did Jeremy just call me unimportant? I absolutely did not do that.
Rachel's been a guest twice.
Yeah. And and that's rare air, I think. I don't know if anybody's done twice.
I think she's the only one that's been on twice, actually.
And then somebody said, who are some of our dream guests? I've seen some Ben Shapiro's in there. Greg
no,
Locke,
no,
John Cooper.
No.
Kevin James Thornton is
Donald Trump.
I would have Kevin James. Thornton
on. Who? Just real quickly. Just because it got asked in the comments, so I'd like to oblige. Who is your one dream guest, Paul?
Brene Brown.
Oh,
she's my superhero.
That's a solid call. Oh man, I didn't see that one coming. That's really good. April, what about you?
Oh my gosh, the pool is so
Beth
big.
Moore.
I know. Yeah.
Beth Moore, y'all already made me DM her, and I'm salty about it
because y'all are mutuals
on
Twitter.
I know
she's
she
your
does.
Best friend.
That's like my favorite thing of the year is that she followed me on Twitter, and probably every other day I'll go to her page just to see if she's still following me because I'm still tweeting like normal me, and I keep thinking any moment she's gonna be like, "That's enough, April." But nope, she's still there. So yeah, I would love maybe if we have some more Twitter interactions, I can get Beth Moore on. We'll see. It's a pipe dream. It's not gonna happen. So lower your expectations. But sure, I'll say Beth Moore because I can't.
I got followed by somebody on Twitter the other day, and you know how it says so and so followed you, they're followed by, and then it'll list, and it said. She's followed by the real Barack Obama. And I looked and it was the real Barack Obama. So I reached out to her like, how did you get Barack Obama to follow you? And she had no idea that the former president of the United States.
I do think he has a team because I have some friends that he also follows. I think they just followed a bunch of people early on to get more followers.
Boost his,
I asked her to please like my stuff.
Okay, can we just say, if we're talking pipe dream, Barack Obama. Or Michelle Obama.
Or Michelle.
Listen, Barack is fine, but I'll take Michelle
True.
Any day. She's amazing.
Mike. Paul, Beecher says that your mic is peaking. Turn it down.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Now, can we get... Wait, did you say your dream? Did I cut you off, Jeremy? Did you say your dream?
You didn't cut me off. I just really like the question, so I wanted to hear y'all's. Ted Cruz.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I want to get him in here and play a round of ping pong with Dracula's face. It'll be so
on
fun.
a Zoom.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, not like literal, like. Not.
I mean, you're the one that's always like, who has the most punchable face? So.
Oh, I would ask that in front of him, and I would answer Ted Cruz in front of him.
Oh my gosh, that would be entertainment. He's he'll probably be in Cancun.
Yeah, well, Fled Cruz. Yeah, Zoom works down there just fine.
Yeah, so, Ryan just said Cancun cruise. Yes.
Yeah, Cancun cruise.
So mine would be the Heretics crew, but just for purely personal reasons that I'll keep to myself.
This is the same women from the podcast for y'all that don't know. Okay,
all right, is this
okay.
One
Can
of
I
your
just make a request? Yes, this is the one I'm most excited about y'all watching. Can I make a request that you only react with facial expressions or mute your mic while the video is going so that people can hear it all? That's my
final mute.
You're so demanding.
Yes. Okay. Make sure the volume's up, Paul, too.
It's up.
Perfect.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, by the way, hold on, can you pause? This is Lori Alexander, who runs I think it's the Transformed Wife. She is notorious for telling women to always submit to their husbands, very misogynistic. She has said that she thinks women should have never been given the right to vote, just for example.
Oh my God.
So she's very much like, she's got a lot of internalized misogyny.
I'm going to mute my mic because I don't know if I can make it.
Like, okay, when I tell you, you will not guess where this clip is going. You won't.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So should a wife, if a husband wants his wife to vaccinate and she feels all the things I mentioned previously, that it would be sinful for her to take it because she believes that they're completely wrong and harmful. This is my own opinion about that. I would say no, she wouldn't need to take it. And the reason I say that is because I tell women that they do not have to have anal sex with their husbands because that's harmful. They don't need to submit to things that are harmful to them. And if they truly believe that vaccinations are harmful to them, I don't believe they need to submit to that. So should a wife, if a husband wants his wife to vaccinate and she feels all the things I mentioned previously, that it would be sinful for her to take it because she believes that they're completely wrong and harmful. This is my own opinion about that. I would say no, she wouldn't need to take it. And the reason I say that is because I tell women that they do not have to have anal sex with their husbands because that's harmful. They don't need to submit to things that are harmful to them. And if they truly believe that vaccinations are harmful to them, I don't believe they need to.
Did you really just want to hear her say anal twice, Paul?
I didn't realize it was playing over again. Holy.
So, just for the record, those are two jabs that Lori will not take.
Oh my God. You're going to hell.
Show's over. Show's over.
By the way,
She's been thinking about that for 3 weeks. April's had that joke.
She was asked specifically about the COVID vaccine. BT dubs, by the way. So
a woman
this woman literally tells women to submit to their husbands, even if their husbands are abusive. She said she believes there's no such thing as marital rape, that a woman owes it to her husband at any point, but draws the line at vaccines because that's harmful. And anal, but
And
you
anal.
know.
So
those are the two.
Submit to your husband for everything but the jab and anal sex.
You got me. I don't have anything. I don't have a word.
Those who couldn't see,
Oh my
Jeremy
God.
was turning beet red and laughing on his muted mic.
Oh, I'm so glad I muted him. Oh my God. What? Okay.
Not much gets you speechless, Jeremy.
That is next level shit. Like that is insanity to the craziest degree.
That's my new favorite moment of the show right there. All right, Jeremy, which of yours do you want to?
Don't know.
We've lost him.
We should have ended with the anal. That's what she said. Sorry. Okay, we're going off the well.
You are on a roll.
We haven't even reached the hour mark yet, and we're going off the rails. This is like after hour time. Dennis says next, please.
Oh my
okay.
gosh. Okay. Yeah. This is. Oh,
Do you need
okay,
to give us
right.
any
Right.
like?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a little lead in. So,
Okay.
this guy, somebody sent me a video of this guy, and he was like just like really over. Like, I said that he's like Randy Savage that somebody ordered off of Wish. Because this guy is just like really over the top, man, and like. In his original video, he said that the only thing his white privilege ever got him was a sunburn in the summertime. That's what he said. And so I called him out for that. And I guess some of his followers, so this has turned into like a mess because, his followers are like the most radicalized people ever. One person got on my page and rebuked me about 17 times after he made this video. Literally, like every time I would comment back, he would be like, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ, our holy Lord." And so, yeah, it was pretty intense. But this dude is just, I don't know. He's just pretty special. And so, I just wanted to share, Macho Man Randy Savage off of Wish with y'all.
That matters. It's the blood that he shed for me was red. You got a problem with me? Pray about it, because you ain't gonna do nothing. First of all, I've never taken steroids, but thank you for the compliment. Second, I love Macho Man, so thank you for the compliment. And third, don't put words in my mouth. I've never preached that Jesus was white. I preached that Mary and Joseph were able to hide him out in Egypt because of the complexion of his skin, which was dark. What I did say is that the only thing that matters is that the blood he shed for us was red, and he died for all sinners. That means all races, nationalities, and colors. None of us are excluded. We are all included. Your critical race theory is demonic, and it does not belong in the pulpit. You call yourself a pastor, you're the furthest thing from it. That matters. It's the blood that he shed.
I love how now anytime someone brings up anything race related, evangelicals like critical race theory, evil.
Yeah. No, that was the thing that I really wanted to like throw in there. Is I was like, why did this guy just take off into this whole like conversation about race and critical race theory? Like I had no idea where he was going with that. Like, anyway, it's just his page is just littered with nonsense, and his followers.
It looks like he's
ridiculous.
on the power team.
The power team. Yeah.
Oh gosh, those guys that used to rip phone books and stuff.
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah. All right. Next clip.
They're still out there. All right. Next clip. What? Anybody have a request?
Do the Kurt guy. Trying to.
Pastor? I don't.
Hold on. Let me see if I could find it. We should have been more organized.
We should have had him.
Kurt Landry.
I can't see which one is Kurt Landry.
I don't know.
But I'll just go with this one and we'll see where we land.
Okay.
Here we go. You gonna start at the feet, or you gonna start?
Oh God, this guy.
From y'all's haircuts, amen. That's right. I mean, you're in an independent Baptist church, and you got a King James Bible in your hand, and you got a contemporary liberal hairdo. What in the world is wrong with you? Would you boys quit trying to look like the world? You ain't as cool as you think you are. You ain't as tough as you think you are. Or to get you a haircut that's high and tight over your ears and off your collar line, and look like somebody that's been to the barber shop instead of the beauty salon.
Oh.
Amen.
Glory to
God. Like, why go to preacher voice for that? What does that have anything to do with like actual preaching? And get yourself a haircut. That's what I am. Yeah. Just add
I have
extra
a pretty
syllables.
good idea that Jesus didn't have a high, tight haircut.
Yeah, he wore long hair. He had long hair and basically wore a dress.
Yes.
Let it be what it is.
I mean, what do you call it?
Well, but
that's
an independent fundamental Baptist. That guy's an independent fundamental Baptist, and their thing is that men are supposed to be clean shaven. Basically military haircuts. They always wear like suits and ties, stuff like that. Women are not allowed to wear pants. I mean, they're freaking crazy. A lot of the clips I get are when people send me independent fundamental Baptist pastors. Like that's where I get a lot of that stuff.
It's the people hyping him up in the congregation too.
Because they love it. They eat it up. They're so indoctrinated in it. They just think it's great.
Come on, people, stop it. Okay, next clip.
Where
There's
they
a
come up
bunch.
with this stuff, I'll never know. I'll never know. Let's see.
Can we? Did you have one, Paul? Did you have some clips, Paul, or no?
I do, but they're not great. So we'll go with this one here.
Okay. So this is the guy I was saying.
This is your Kurt Landry.
This is
Okay.
a right-wing pastor named Kurt Landry. And he prophesied very boldly that Trump was going to win the 2020 election. Just for some context into this clip.
Okay. And isn't Right Wing Watch just great?
Yeah. Yes.
The church's cancel culture has really it has blossomed into really a global cancel culture. And I'm going to share with you that I really think that since the 2020 election, the body of Christ has canceled its prophets based on the fact that President Trump did not serve a second term. And when that did not serve a second term, there was like this evil accusing of the brethren spirit that rose up, and particularly in the church, and said, this prophet predicted that. There's a false prophet. We maybe didn't stone anybody with rocks, but we certainly stoned them on social media with our own mouth. So here we are canceling the prophets. I'm not here to defend that whole situation about how it went down, but I will say this, that the scripture says about this in Psalm 105:15. It clearly says, do not touch my anointed ones, no, do my prophets no harm. So when they did miss it and we did harm to them, thus we fed into that river of the cancel culture where we attacked our own. We need to repent from that tonight. We need to get cleansed from that tonight.
So condemning the people that called out the quite literally false prophets instead of the false prophets, because he was one of them. He was one of them.
Doesn't the Bible say you stone a prophet that falsely prophesies?
Yeah.
So
I don't understand what he was even saying, because he was like, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have done that. That we should repent for that because you don't touch God's anointed. But you were just proven a false prophet, you dope.
For saying you got it wrong.
Maybe you're not God's anointed.
He's, but he thinks he is. So, he wants to make sure and protect himself.
Just as a sidebar, I get that a lot. And I got it a lot in the church too, to never go after anyone that's currently in ministry because of the don't touch God's anointed Bible verse.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, they use that verse to get away with awful things.
Yeah, I mean, I get told that all the time. How dare you call out other pastors? That kind of thing. And I'm like,
and if they were truly above reproach and truly believing they're anointed, they would want to be held accountable to that anointing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's exactly right.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Evangelicals.
All
right, I'll show you one I have. This is a pastor who, by the way, had a great bit on The Daily Show where they were interviewing him, and he was talking about how Hillary Clinton ought to be ashamed that her husband had an affair on her. And the guy started saying, but you're a Donald Trump fan, and he's had affairs on all of his wives, 3 of them. You're saying it's worse that Hillary's husband had an affair than Trump had his own. But anyway, that's this guy. And here he's talking about how any law that is not in line with the Bible and Jesus Christ ought to not be law in America. So here he goes.
Do you believe that Jesus should be at the center of American politics in the United States of America?
No, I believe that protecting people's rights should be at the center of politics in America. Nothing more. The government should not have an opinion on morality.
We're here to take over. I can't hear nobody, Patriots. We're here to take over. God help me. We're here to take over. We're here to take over.
At least Christians are saying it out loud now.
They're insane. Hold on, I've got to take care of a troll.
I was trying to do this as well on my phone.
How do we do that? I've never had to block someone.
There, I got him.
You got him?
Nice.
Yeah.
just for 5 minutes. Go away for 5 minutes. Think about what
We
you did.
should. I guess we should look into adding a moderator now. Now that we've
Yeah,
now
we're
that
under
we've got our
attack.
first live troll.
We're being persecuted.
Jesus did not come for us to take over America. I'm sorry. It's just not the Bible. Not the Bible. Bible not. All right, let's hear more from Jeremy here.
Well, this is a clip of Skillet frontman John Cooper, who I used to be a fan of. John Cooper and Skillet. Thought they put out some great music. Over the last several years, John Cooper has gotten more and more Christian nationalist and has fallen in with guys like James White and some of those other kind of characters. And so pretty rough. I have intentionally not touched John Cooper's nonsense just because I had a personal bias with him after he drove over me on his podcast, which, whatever. But this one I couldn't quite let go. So this is John Cooper talking about deconstruction.
We declare war against this deconstruction Christian movement. And I'll tell you what, I don't even like calling it deconstruction Christian because there is nothing Christian about it. It is a false religion. It is a whole nother religion. And all that I want to know from all these people lying to our young folks, if living your truest, authentic self is really that wonderful for you and your sexual revolution, then what I want to know is this: why are you so sad? Why are you killing yourselves at the highest rates in American history? Why are more young people depressed than ever in American history? More young people are on medication. More young people are full of anxiety. I want to know why these celebrities' lives are so absolutely screwed up if they really believe they are so happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then they brag about their debased lives from our young people. And they check into rehab over and over and over again, and they keep leading all of our young people astray. I'm here to tell you, especially you young people who've been ripped off, we're here to tell you this tonight. The world will tell you that you need to separate yourself from Christianity in order to find happiness. We are here at Winter's End to tell you tonight, there is no such thing as freedom outside of Jesus Christ.
Can I stop it there?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
That makes me so mad. Yeah, like that's so wrong. Tell me you haven't been listening without telling me.
Well, and like, yeah, I've had a lot of people comment on my video, like, well, there went my, Skillet playlist or whatever. It's the first thing is like the whole thing about deconstruction was really, really harmful. But the comments about suicide and depression were just absolutely insane.
It's so insensitive.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, what is he even talking about? This is the happiest I think I've ever been. I don't know about you guys, but there's like freedom and actually being free. You know why depression and suicide are so rampant is because a lot of people were in the church and they were told they're not praying about it enough. I mean, religious trauma is a real thing that yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. Deconstruction is also a sad process. Like it leads, I think, to it leads to inner peace and like more genuine happiness, but it is a very sad and lonely and like it's like an existential crisis in many ways because you're having to unlearn something that for a lot of us believed our entire lives, and you're learning some things you're learning really hard truths about what you believed about people that you once respected, sometimes about your own parents or your own upbringing, that it sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's a good thing. It brings growth and it brings healing, but it's not.
We are inherently pack animals as human beings. And to deconstruct, you have to leave the safety of the pack behind. Yes, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you've been fed the shame of being dirt and being an original sinner and all of these things, I do have people ask me a lot, like, I really don't believe what my church taught me, but I'm still a little bit afraid that God's mad at me for thinking that, because shame is so inculcated into what we do as Christians. So I fully believe that we are responsible for a lot of those deaths, straight out.
Yeah.
Add on then the hatred of LGBTQ plus and anybody that doesn't fit our norm, and we are the problem.
Also, it's so on brand for evangelicals to declare war. How many things have they declared war against? And it's funny, I've never been on this side of the war. I've like, we declare war on deconstruction. I've always been on the ones being like, yeah, no Starbucks, no Disney, or whatever it was. And
what was it that Nathan Rager guy called it? The demon fish goddess or something like that.
Pretty sure he
like
mentioned Jezebel at some point.
Yeah. Oh, Jezebel fish goddess. Yeah. So when talking about Starbucks.
Yeah. You know what though? Being on this side of that war, I realized how unintimidating that I actually was that whole time. Like, evangelicals, we're going to cancel you. We're declaring war against it. And now that I'm on this side, I'm like, oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah. Looking at a 50-year-old John Cooper still in his biker gear, screaming about declaring war in front of a bunch of 15-year-olds.
What does that even mean?
Showed up for a $10 ticket. Yeah. Well, but that's the problem is like, I mean, I think that like, I'm afraid what I'm
like they haven't already been at war against us. They've literally blamed deconstruction for slavery, for ushering in the end times, that we just want to sin, that it's sexy, that we want street cred. They've been making all these excuses, attacking us left and right, which, to be fair, we are coming for them a little bit too. But instead of looking inward and addressing our actual concerns, it's all about demonizing the people that have left. I'm like, what? How could you win a war against us? We have all the freaking receipts from when we were evangelicals.
Yeah.
Like, we know the lingo. We know how you talk. We know how you think.
No, but that is okay. Great point. And I was telling somebody this the other day. That is why they have become so combatant, is because what's happening is that it's like the people who used to, it's kind of like the people who have the playbook just went to the other team, and now we speak their language. We know all their jargon. We know all the tricks. We know all the secrets. We've pulled back the curtain, seen the man behind the curtain, operating all the, the switches for Oz or whatever. Like, we've seen it all. And now we're calling it all out from the outside and going, hey, we were a part of this. We shouldn't have been a part of this. This is what they're doing. And now they're being so combative because guess what? When you back a cat in a corner, the only thing it's going to do is try to claw its way out because it doesn't have any rational way. Like they don't have an answer. There's not an answer for it because they know that that we're calling out what's really happening because they're back there. The stuff they've tried to keep hidden for so long, now we all see it. So they have to discredit the deconstruction movement as a whole because they know they can't defend all of the items off the receipts. They know they can't go case by case. So they have to crush the entire movement. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think back to when I was in it, I sort of realized the belief system was a little bit of a shaky Jenga tower that if, just pull one of the bricks, the whole thing is tumbling down. And I feel like they're fighting so vigorously because they realize the same thing. Like, we have to defend this at all costs because otherwise it's all coming to tumbling down. And then who are we?
Right. And that's why, some of these people that are so dogmatic, hopefully, if they allow themselves to grow in a few years, hopefully they'll get to that question of who am I? And then they'll come crawling back to all the people they remember demonizing who are deconstructing, and they'll reach out
And we'll
and
mock
say,
them to their face. Oh,
no, I'm totally a sucker. I would definitely help them. So let that just be a PSA. If you're in the evangelical church right now and for some reason you're listening to this podcast, it's okay.
For some crazy
if there's some crazy reason you've made it this far, you
All
can
right,
reach out to me.
I've got one more video I want you guys to see, and this is from the Greg Locke book burning. That's right. You heard me.
Yes.
A real live book burning was held by a church in the United States of America. And I want to see your reaction to this video.
Keeping my copy of Darwin's Origin of Species at Fahrenheit 451. Praise Satan! Hail Satan! Hail to his strength and power! And I rebuke you.
I rebuke you.
You know, it wasn't until, so for those that are listening, that was the book burning, and there's a guy who snuck in there and burned a Bible and started yelling, "Hail Satan," because he burned a Bible, and he yelled, "I'm keeping his copy of Darwin and Fahrenheit 451." I didn't realize until I deconstructed that Satanists don't actually worship Satan.
Yeah.
And that it like literally exists to troll Christianity.
Yeah.
I almost feel bad at how much joy I get out of that video. But I just do.
You know, though, that they're going to tell the stories of how like a satanic priest showed up, because it'll exaggerate. Satanic priest go up and was like saying incantations and burned a Bible and was yelling "Hail Satan," and like they're going to turn that into the biggest persecution story that they're going to tell their grandkids. The book burning that they visited, the Satanists showed up.
Yeah, well, he obviously, we didn't even get to him speaking about disabled kids, which was absolutely disturbing.
About
we could literally
children with autism. Yeah,
we could spend the whole hour talking about Greg Locke every single week.
I seem to remember like a high-ranking political figure from the 1930s and 40s that also had issues with special needs people and wanted to burn a lot of books.
Book burning. I remember something.
Yeah, something about that. I think it was in Germany, but I can't really put my finger on it.
It reminded me of when I was a kid that we had record-breaking services, and we would bring our rock and roll music to church and smash it on the altar of the church. My Barry Manilow cassette tape got smashed so that I could repent of the evil of Barry Manilow.
My youth group did CD burnings where you would bring all your secular CDs, like not burning it like you would burn a CD on a computer, like fire burning CDs, melt your secular CDs. I remember, this is super annoying. My parents they were more chill about letting us listen to secular music, which I appreciated. But one time they went out of town, and our current youth pastor and his wife watched us. I was probably 13. And the youth pastor had the audacity to walk into my parents' home and say, and my dad was the pastor. My dad was his boss, by the way. And said, "Now, I know your parents are lax and let you listen to secular music, but when I'm in charge, this is my house, and you're not allowed to listen to any secular music while I'm here."
Okay.
I was so annoyed. I still listened, by the way. I had headphones in. He didn't know.
I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music, but I had like a tape player with a 5 CD changer on top.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was fancy.
fancy.
Yeah, fancy. And it had a headphone jack on it. And so like at night after everybody would go to bed, I would turn it on and I would listen to the hip hop station. And so that is where I fell in love with Biggie and Tupac and NWA and like all of those guys.
Sorry, guys.
So
That's awesome.
What's a tape?
Somebody says, "What's a tape?" Yes.
Johnny just said, "What's a tape?"
Suddenly, I feel very old.
Hey, I listen to tapes too. My first secular album was a cassette tape by a band called Cleopatra because they were on the Disney Channel a lot.
Nice.
They had some really cool.
But by the
Cool
way, just so you
songs.
know, I'm triggered by the word secular. Just so you know.
That's fair. I need to like deconstruct that because I still find myself saying Christian and secular like by force of habit, and it's annoying. Stop it, old evangelical me. Go away.
Go away.
And by the way, they were burning Harry Potter books. I do remember the day in our church when it was told, Harry Potter books aren't bad, but you should seek out whatever is good and lovely and pure. So maybe there's something better than Harry Potter.
Oh, they were pure evil at my church. I was not allowed to read Harry Potter. I went to my friend's 16th birthday party when I was 16, and she went to go see the new Harry Potter movie. I don't know which one it was. I could only go to the dinner, and I had to leave before they went to the movie. It was really embarrassing as a teenager.
Oh, that sucks.
It did suck.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh,
anyway,
there we go.
Well, happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary.
We made it a year.
Same. It's been awesome. We appreciate all of you for hanging out with us this evening. If you listen to the podcast on a podcasting platform, do us a favor, leave it a rating. If you're on Apple Podcasts in particular, if you would rate it and leave a review, let people know why they should be listening. It just helps us connect with more awesome folks to add to this community. If you have not already, subscribe and turn on the notifications for our YouTube channel. That would be awesome. And you can find us on TikTok as well. That's at Evangelicalish. And so would appreciate that. And so here we go. Is it season 6, right?
Is it?
Season 6, episode 1, year 2. We are off and running and super grateful for every single one of y'all. So without further ado, y'all have any last thoughts before we close out for tonight? All right. Well,
I love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too,
I love
brother.
you, man.
I love y'all. All right. For Paul and April, I'm Jeremy. Love God, love people passionately. No strings attached. We will see y'all next week.